Be right back.
Was just waiting for parables to come out of nowhere. All right, so while the guys are getting ready for the next run, how's everybody in chat doing? And yes, Tina, someone did say parable. Did you guys enjoy East Origin? East. I keep wanting to say East Origin, but that's the next game. Let's go over some of the upcoming incentives. Now, as we've said, that one of our runs did drop late, and the East games that you're seeing now were generously. That was two words at once. It was genuinely and generously. It was generously offered by GhostKing, and yeah, gingerously. I'm not sure what that word was. And after that, I do believe Kay Shura is going to be doing some typing. Epistory Typing Chronicles. We have, and there is an incentive for that, correct? Which is for you to sing the ending. So if you want to hear Kay sing, now is the time to start getting your donations in. Because that is sitting at $5 out of $20. Thank you, the Space Pope. I appreciate that. It is good to be here. Little known fact, I was actually in the ER this morning, so I wasn't sure I was going to make it myself. But yes, here I am, and I'm enjoying these great runs by GhostKing. So just a quick update on a few of the upcoming incentives. We have, like I said, we have Singing the Ending, Epistory Typing Chronicles. That is at $5 out of $20. Final Fantasy II. We have Firion, no, doesn't have a name at the moment. Maria is the name is currently Syl, $30. Guy has no names offered. Leon. There are two names in contention there. Squall at $12.22 and Leiwan at $5. You've got the to name Benjamin in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. The top three names will be used there, because each runner will be using one. Secret of Mana, all of the names are open, but I am personally endorsing that we should name the girl Bob, because why not? Let's be honest. And there is a donation incentive for making the run glitchless, which is currently at $130 out of $250, and the donation incentive to send the boy and the sprite on vacation is at $15 out of $150. Because it is not a true solo challenge unless the girl is alone, is it? But there is all kinds of incentives you can donate for. Head over to bit.ly/SRR incentives. Yes, Justin MDP, I think Bobbert would be acceptable.
You know, I'm back, by the way. There's actually a funny story about that name. So I have a group of friends where there's me and another Robert who goes by Rob, and we were playing a game once in a game that has bidding in it, and one of the rounds, one of our friends, the two Roberts among us are playing. One of our friends says, "All right, Bobbert, how much do you want to pay me?" And then I was like, whoa, wait. There's two Roberts here. Who are you referring to as Bobbert? And she's like, "I don't know. Why don't you pay me?" And then immediately the other Robert's like, $1 that he is Bobbert. And ever since then, in that same group of friends, 3 people call me Bobbert. Every single time. Not making this up.
And Charlotte Kitty in chat is right. We do have 2 prizes up for grabs during Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. We have the FFNQ main characters pearls. I am going to sneeze, excuse me. Thank you. And then we have the Poor Life Choices shirt.
I love this. I love Poor Life Choices.
I've become inexorably linked with PLC somehow. I tend to host many of their games. But yes, though there's a Poor Life Choices shirt and a Final Fantasy Mystic Quest main character perlers. I'll get words right in some order one day. Just you wait. Get me pictures of Spider-Man. So you're back?
I am back and ready to go whenever Kay gives me the signal.
Let's have a look at some of these other prizes that are coming up. Mother 2 has Runaway 5 license plate. That's pretty cool. Mother 3 has the DCMC t-shirt. Nice.
I totally want in on that. That's literally my favorite game.
This is pretty cool. Yeah. There's a lot of cool prizes up for grabs, which you'll hear a little bit more about.
I totally want in on that. That's literally my favorite game.
This is pretty cool. Yeah. There's a lot of cool prizes up for grabs, which you'll hear a little bit more about. But one of the other ones is the grand prize for the marathon, which is SNES Classic, donated by Casual Geek Dave. And if your donations across the marathon cumulative, what is it's if cumulative is the thing, add up to, there you go, that'll work. $50.
You got like a Porky Pig in here. Every time you try and say something,
that's almost
accumulated.
Yeah, if they add up to $50, 50 whole American dollars.
So approximately 34 British pounds.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Are you ready, GhostKing?
Yes, ready whenever. Oh, hey, we're live. Yay.
Well, hello. Just one quick one before that. The ball has started rolling downhill. Kay Shura, my dear, has donated $10. He said 5 goes towards naming the girl Bob, and 5 goes towards her singing.
Oh boy.
Don't donate for yourself to sing. That somewhat defeats the point.
Well, no one else is donating.
I'm telling you, because I'm hosting that run, that donation incentive is getting met. Even if I have to donate the rest of the money. So...
Well, now you only have to donate $10.
Oh no. So there you go.
Quick, 1 sec. Let me go. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do that after. I'll do that after. Hello, everyone. So, once again, I'm GhostKing, and this is Ys Origin, which is a prequel to the very, very first Ys title, and everything in this game takes place 700 years before the tale of Adol Kristen, the main character of the last game. So, this is kind of like the game that sets everything up. There's a lot of references to like Ys 1 and 2. There's even a few references that end up coming into play in Salsetta. Salsetta being a remake of Ys 4 from like 1994. This game's from 2006. And kind of the villains and a few other characters in East Salcedo are characters referred to as Darklings, which this game will actually focus on a couple of them. Anyways, so you have 3 playable characters. You have Unica here, who's an axe-wielding, magicless girl, kind of one of the fan favorites. You have this groveling, sniveling piece of garbage that I will not refer to by name because his name is a banned word in my own channel. And we have Toal, who is Wolverine meets Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Toal plays a lot like a berserker, as it says. He's very up close and moves really fast. He also has things that defy all physical logic. So the last game we clipped through the floor a lot. In this game we're going to be clipping through ceilings and doors, and basically we're clipping through between these 2 runs we're clipping through every dimension. Anyways, ToalEX is reference to Extra Mode, which is something you unlock after you've beaten the game with everyone. So yes, I did have to play through Hugo once, but that time is neither here nor there. Anyways, we're going to do this on Easy because Easy enables a couple of cool strats and is sort of the standard any % difficulty in this game. Unlike Salceda, the route doesn't change much between these 3 difficulties, and then Nightmare on this category would be kind of probably impossible, just because of some of the stuff we skip. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll give the timer countdown. When I say go, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So, unlike the last run, this one is preceded by about a 3-minute long cutscene. This can be fast forward, well, 2.5. It can be fast forwarded on PS4 and Vita versions. Unfortunately, we don't have the means of doing that on PC yet, so this is the longest platform, but it has a few pieces of tech that are exclusive to it that kind of make it honestly a better run in most runners' opinions. So the story behind Toal is he was once the right-hand man of the general of the region of Ys, man by the name of Saltova, also known as Unica's father. Her father and Toal's mentor died before the events of this game, and so Toal kind of decides to defect and gain the power of evil, because he finds that he was not strong enough to save his mentor. And so he decides to kind of join the dark side, but it's more of a bit of a third-party neutral endeavor. He forsakes his sword, which these 2 goddesses find out in front of the tower. They're pivotal figures of the early East titles, the goddesses Rhea and Fina. And they go in the tower looking for him, but also looking to kind of put an end to the madness initiated by the big bad here, who basically used the power of this tower to attack the floating continent of Ys. And so this game kind of is split up amongst a couple of factions, those being the ones from Ys. Unica and Hugo are on that faction, and then the bad guys here, which are the Darklings, the powerful sorcerer Dallas, his right-hand woman, the sorceress Zava, and Toal, who's just kind of the 5th man of the group. And of course they don't trust him because he's just kind of in it for his own gain, which is to gain power. Alrighty, so we're going to get into combat here. The basics of combat: you have a standard attack, which can go into a 5-hit combo. And then you have a jump attack, a downward thrust whenever you're in midair, and then you have a lunge attack. All of these are going to be useful. So we're going to first do a lunge, which actually lowers defense. We're going to beat the tar out of these guys and try a glitch here. I didn't get the glitch, but that's fine. It's only about a half-a-second time save. So Bob, I know you're familiar with this run a little bit from when I ran this
at RPG. A little bit, yeah.
From when I ran this at RPG Limit Break 2016.
Mm-hmm.
The routes changed considerably. We've saved another like 20-something minutes in this game. So,
Nice.
This run was really broken back then. It is extra broken now.
Yeah, like we were talking about it after that run, and it was one of the games I wasn't expecting. So it just like blindsided me with how much I enjoyed the run. So I'm really interested to see what's happening with it now. Received Dark Crystal. Jim Henson gonna sue somebody.
Yeah, the Dark Crystal is a thing that lets me warp between these warp statues, because warping is a common thing in Ys games, thankfully. Like, even in 1986, they realized that people want to use fast travel. It's amazing how long it took developers to realize this. Alrighty, so we're doing a bunch of lunging here, because it's the fastest form of movement at the moment. But we're gonna very quickly unlock something a lot better and a lot more broken. Glowing red enemies are required to clear any of these purple barriers, so I need to kill all 3 of these guys here. And just beat the tar out of them. And this lets me get this thing called the Cerulean Flabellum, which gives me the skill Godspeed, which is the most broken thing in this game. So Godspeed is a wind-based dash ability, and I'm going to be using it for movement for pretty much the entire game here. So here I'm going to do a jump attack here, kill that guy to reach level 2. Then hit the switch to raise these platforms. Now the game wants me to go around and do this, but I have a little bit of a shortcut that I can do here with the well-timed jump slash. And we did it. So the cool thing about Godspeed is we can chain it together with a lunge and create what we call a God lunge. We're very clever at naming these things. And God lunging is really useful because when you Godspeed, there's sort of a brief little bit of lag at the end of your lunge and your Godspeed, and by using them both together, you minimize that as much as possible. So you get the most distance per dash. Of course, Godspeed is magic, so I do have to kind of watch out for my MP bar. Alright, and here's another little trick that we can do with Godspeed, is if you let go of any form of movement, which in this case for me is the mouse, your Godspeed actually goes farther and faster. So if you do 2 Godspeeds there and let go of the mouse mid-jump, you can just jump past that gap that you're not supposed to. And now, to explain why Godspeed is the most broken ability and how I just clipped through that gate back there, there's a couple of frames in the Godspeed animation where Toal just doesn't exist, in a way. Like, essentially, he's invulnerable and intangible. Like, you just straight warp past something. So, if you... In that particular instance, I angled myself against the gate there, and then timed it correctly so that those frames happen when he hits the edge of the gate, and so he just phased right through the gate. This is going to be a very recurring theme throughout this game, that those frames of basically being intangible and having no collision, those are going to really be a big reason why we break this game in 2. Alright, so we fed this Rue, and he gave us a thing that makes us stronger. And we just skipped... I know, the Rues are adorable. We actually skipped them in Salcedo, so glad that they're at least in this game.
So cute.
Alright, we got a couple more donations, if you don't mind.
Wait just like 20-ish seconds.
Yeah, I was just letting you know.
Okay. Gonna skip through here, and then these bats are the worst thing ever. If you're familiar with the jerk bird, these are jerk bats.
RPG jerk birds in chat.
Okay. So in skipping into this room, we needed a key that we were supposed to, like, kind of backtrack around and, like, do a boss fight. So we skipped doing that boss fight altogether, and we can just kill these bats. Now, the bats I can only damage in midair. If I attack them on the ground, I only do, like, 1 damage apiece, because I'm so underleveled. And for some silly reason, jump attacks just do an insane amount more damage on Toal. They're not cooperating with me today. Come on, jerk bats. Ideally, I group them all together and they just all die really quickly. Yeah, so now Toal unlocks the power to access his demon energy and go Super Saiyan.
So he's Dante from Devil May Cry again.
Yes. I'm actually going to need another minute here because I'm about to attempt another really big skip. After that, it's just going to be grinding and then a couple cutscenes before a boss fight.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
So now that we have this, we can get past the room that sucked us through the floor and kind of had to make us take a detour. Okay. Alrighty, so we're going to immediately use boost here to go full demon Toal, and then we're going to try and skip past this barricade by using God Lunge. It's the only way to get past this, and it's kind of imprecise. Okay, I'm going to run out of boost meter. It's denoted on the semicircle on the very bottom of the screen. So I'm going to go quickly refresh that. If I run out, it would be bad.
It'd be bad, I'm going.
There we go. Alrighty, so I'm going to grind here and get up to 83 health, which is level 6, I want to say. I want to be that for the next boss. I don't denote levels by the actual level number, but rather by our health value, because the health value is static. Anyways, go ahead and read off donations. You got time.
Alright, so we have $20 from Nemo2342, who says $10 to name the robot in Final Fantasy Legend 2 Gyre, and $10 to Runner's Choice.
If there's any names that haven't been named, name them Dan. If we're gonna name something Gyre, we gotta go with the Dan canon.
All right, we'll put we'll name something Dan, and then we have $9.99 from Charlotte Kitty once again. Shala. I'll get corrected eventually. $3.33 to Kay singing, $3.33 to naming the secret Amanda boy Bobbert. We're competing with ourselves right now. We got to decide on Bob, or we got to decide on Bobbert.
Yes.
And $3.33 to naming the secret of Mana sprite Bobathy.
I changed my donation thing. Name it Bobathy. Please.
Okay.
I don't even know if you have.
Bobathy.
Bob. So we have Bob, Bobbert, and Bobathy.
Yes. Okay, so I actually just used God Lunge to clip around the purple barrier so I don't have to kill the bats to do that, and that saves about 20 to 30 seconds. And then immediately clip through the door, because every door in this game can be clipped through, and I mean every door. So here's the first real boss of the run. His name is Velagander. I need to hit the crab-looking part on the bottom and then climb up his giant arms to damage the brain, I want to say. And that's his weak spot. Ideally, this only takes 4 cycles. But what's really obnoxious about this fight is he spits out these bugs that leave a slime on the ground. And the slime is kind of like ice. It kind of leaves like ice physics. I slip around and lose full control of my character, so... Okay. Well, that was actually a really, really good Velagander fight. And he's already dead. I don't know how you're going to fit Bobathy into Secret of Mana, but we're going to try.
That's Yaga's problem to figure out. Let's be honest.
Alrighty, first boss done. Now, I'm going to very briefly see a cutscene here where Toal interacts with one of the Darklings, and she tells him, hey, we found somebody in the tower that looks a lot like you and kind of just has a lot of similarities. And Toal says, I don't know who that could be. It turns out he knows exactly who it is, and it's his idiot little brother, Hugo. And I will bash Hugo for probably the entire course of this run, because I hate his guts. He's the worst character in the game to play as, and he used to be the most frustrating boss fight in Total speedruns, because we will have to fight him. Now, we got a couple more cutscenes coming up, so if you wanna do any plugs or anything, or just, fill the space so that I'm not rambling about random cutscene happenings. Go
I
ahead.
don't know. You rambled pretty well.
Thank you.
Anyway, let's talk about what's coming up on the schedule. We've got, after East Origin here, we've got Kay running Epistory Titan Chronicles. Then we have the infamous setup block, which is going to be quite hype, I think.
That's my favorite game of all time.
I know, right?
Screw Mother 3.
And then we've got Final Fantasy II being run by Nikki Knoll. And after that, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, which is an any percent race between the Goose, Silverfire, and RPGC, or Elmagus, Silverfire, and the RPG chick, to those that don't know what the hell I was just talking about, which is probably most people, let's be honest.
I got it.
You mean moose?
Moose.
Moose. See, you can't do that without me thinking about the wrestler Moose, unfortunately. Just that's a whole nother conversation.
So here's the cutscene. Flashes back to when Toal was part of the army and where he became friends with the two goddesses that he sort of serves, and one of which he may or may not have a star-crossed lover's relationship with. Let's kind of just fill out his character in between sections of this game. Alrighty, so I'm gonna again fail a trick here. Hold on. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Goodness, bless you.
We'll try the trick here again.
Please don't around here.
And that gate is really easy to clip past because the barriers on it aren't wide enough. Like, anyone can actually skip through that in this game, including Hugo, who normally can't skip through very much of anything. So here you actually see me repeatedly doing the same attack over and over again. You're not supposed to do that. It's a trick called combo canceling, which you can do by attacking and then repeatedly mashing left click, which is a form of movement. You can't do this on a controller, and it's one of the perks of running this on mouse and keyboard. The other being being able to angle my mouse correctly and do certain angle-specific, pixel-perfect tricks. A lot easier with a consistent setup. While this run is a lot faster on the PS4, miss out on some of these really cool tricks and mechanics, so it's not quite as cool, I feel. It's kind of like a Final Fantasy IX situation where the controls aren't as good, but the PC version's an hour faster because encounter rate is so low. It's a bit of a trade-off. Yeah. Alrighty. I'm gonna boost here because dealing with these guys is easier in boost. Now the next boss I have a quick kill strat for. It's a lot harder to get if I don't have enough armor, so I really want to pick up this armor. The other thing that I'm doing is being wary of enemy drops. So enemies in this game will drop these little potions that provide temporary buffs. As there's no real healing in this game, and very little in the way of equipment, this is where we get the bulk of our resources, just on random temporary enemy drops. I really want the red and yellow ones, which increase my strength and my MP regeneration rate, both of which are needed for the next fight. Okay, I'll just take what I got right now. Okay, equip the armor. Alrighty, so we're gonna fight off against Hugo, our idiot brother. So we've kind of betrayed the family, and the family's kind of a prestigious bunch of mages. The Fact family is the name. And, I can already hear Bob saying, "Is that a fact?" Just in my head. I know you were thinking it.
Mr. Potter.
Anyways, so we're gonna take out Hugo here, and I have a quick kill. He's otherwise really, really annoying fight, but the quick kill can do quick work of him. So I'm gonna need to focus here and just try and chain this combo for as long as I can. Alright, I didn't have boost when I started the fight, so I'm just gonna have to just wail on him repeatedly by combo canceling the third hit of my basic combo and finish him off the old-fashioned way. Please don't leave mines. Nobody likes the mines. There we go. That was a really good fight. Like, it wasn't perfect because I didn't get the quick kill, but I didn't die. And I didn't have to worry about experience, because one of the things about this game is as long as you're in combat, you have this meter that builds up. Every time you do a hit, you gain 1% more experience points, up to a maximum of 1.99 times. And I really want to get it on any of these fights against a sprite as opposed to like one of the big 3D models, because human characters that I fight, this meter is there, and I want that experience as much as I can. I cannot speak today. Anyway.
I'm well aware of the feeling.
Okay, so this.
Speak? What is this speak you speak of?
So this is Kishkal, another one of the Darklings. As my pal Ghoul pointed out, he wears two headbands, and the second set of headbands looks like the first one isn't properly rendered, so it's like copied and pasted on top of it. I kind of also refer to him as Mr. Cutscene because he only kind of exists in the story to come out and then be like, "Rah, I'm evil and foreboding. Also, I killed your best friend." And then just kind of leave and pad out the game. Alright, so now that we're done with Hugo, behind him is the Water Dragon Scales and a Claria Ore. Claria Ore is something that the first Rue gave me, and it increases my offensive output, which is really important because this game's damage formula is totally busted. So like 1 point of strength is a considerable amount of damage, so if I don't get that Claria Ore, I cannot kill anything, pretty much. Real quick, just did a skip there to get up to this emerald, because this emerald lets me charge my Godspeed. And missed my jump there, but whatever. So the other thing I got there was the Water Dragon Scales, which basically allowed me to hold my breath a lot longer. I would not be able to traverse this section without being able to breathe underwater for an extended period of time, so even though you can technically move on without Hugo, or without killing or defeating Hugo, you'd basically just be stuck anyways. So here we're gonna again use the arrow keys to skip past that gate, because the 45-degree angle is exactly what you need. And once again, everything in this game is just kind of a suggestion. The other thing to mention that I haven't really touched on is a thing called wall running, or wall sliding in this case. If you're angling your character just along the edge of a wall, at an angle just shy of parallel, like you're kind of just nuzzling the wall, it accelerates all forms of movement, so Godspeed, running, jumping, and even falling. So anytime I can, I try and align myself along a wall to get a small speed boost. It's going to be useful for a couple of tricks which involve jumping higher than I should be able to, and when I'm underwater it's also useful because it lets me sink faster. So instead of just sinking just waiting and sinking, I'm aligning myself along a wall here to sink a little bit faster. So I just picked up an item called the 11th Strike Hammer, and it lets me use a second magic skill. Unlike Godspeed, which is for movement, Thunder Claw is the obviously the thunder-based ability, and it's more for point-blank damage. More importantly, it lets me kill these turtles who I cannot otherwise damage right now. There is a way to skip past them, just like everything else in this game, but it is one of the few skips that is not RTA viable. So I can't really skip Thunderclaw. Alrighty. So here we are, just finishing up the underwater sections, and we're gonna go head off and fight the next boss. Just skip that spike pit because again we have frames of no collision. Hey, thanks for the raid, Kios. Shoutouts to Kios. Cool guy. So we're going to feed this Rue.
Kios!
We're going to feed this Rue, and he's going to give me the Topaz, which gems in this game upgrade magic, the Emerald upgraded Godspeed, so this one upgrades Thunderclaw, which gives it a big area of effect. Which is going to be really useful on getting a quick kill on the next boss. I skip these guys because they're not important. We're going to God Lunge to try and get past this barrier, and this is kind of a crapshoot, unfortunately. Sometimes I get through here, sometimes I don't. I just kind of have to wing it. There we go. Get a charge here and skip past the door.
Welcome into the Raiders, coming in with Kios, and we're doing some East Origins here, being run by GhostKing, which has been a lot of fun to watch so far. So come, relax, join in the fun, and help us raise some money for Take This.
Okay, so while this guy is on the wall, I can sometimes get a couple of hits. The trick to this boss is I need to kill the 12 or so spikes on his back before I can damage the head and do the final quarter of his health. So first thing I'm going to do is break the first 4 on the back here, and then he's going to start kind of constricting, and that's going to allow me to get a charged Thunderclaw and have a lot of area of effect damage on the spikes. And there, I just got a perfect quick kill. So if I was to let him continue that, he kind of coils into a giant circle and just rotates around the room, and it's a really obnoxious attack, and I can't like do any damage to him in the process. So getting the quick kill there is really nice. I get it probably about 70% of the time, so if I don't get it, it kind of wastes like a minute.
Great job on that kill.
Alrighty, more cutscenes here.
I was clapping, but you couldn't hear me.
Thank you. So we got more cutscenes here. More of Toal's past and his interactions with the goddesses. So while this is going on, why don't you go ahead and do a quick plug or donation if you got. Well,
since Keo just brought the raid in, why don't I talk about what Take This is? Take This is a mental health charity which we're all great fans of here. They go about to different conventions like PAX and MagFest and TwitchCon, things like that, and they reach out to the gaming community to communicate about mental health issues, and they do so via informative panels and through just talking to people, because one of the most important things you can do for someone who is suffering from mental illness is listen, and believe that that's what they're going through. The other things that they believe in is education and teaching in prevention and mitigation. And they want everybody to know that it's okay to not be okay. No one is alone. No one is alone in their struggles, and that there is always hope for improvement. So we think that's a very fitting charity for us to support here with RPG Ragnarok. So
well said.
Thank you.
Alright. So There's too much to explain what I just did back there. I skipped past the gate, killed some things, and then now what I'm doing is the biggest reason behind the ToalEX category. So ToalEX isn't a setting that you can unlock on regular Toal until after you've beaten the game with all 3 characters at least once. And it's sort of an enhanced mode that provides him with a couple of little touches to his magic abilities. The important one is that Godspeed leaves behind a tiny little flame. However, what they weren't realizing with this is that this flame has the same properties as fire magic, which I'm supposed to go and do a boss fight and then watch like 7-8 minutes of cutscenes to unlock. And because they just gave this to us, we can just skip ever doing that boss fight and getting that magic. Because again, you had to beat the game with every other character. They probably didn't realize that we were going to try this. Because they would just assume, like, okay, if you're playing on extra mode, you already know how Toal is supposed to be played. So we just skipped fire magic altogether. It's not needed to beat the game, although there's a couple instances where it would be nice. It's never enough to make up for that, like, 8-minute time loss that it would otherwise have. Not me to talk to that. Alright. This is the Devil's Corridor. There's a really, really, like, poisonous sound coming out of this room that just sucks the energy out of you. So we need to find our own way through it. Now, the 3 characters in this game each have their own way of getting through it. Unica plays a melody that cancels it out. Hugo just breaks the pipe that is causing it to shoot into that room in the first place. And Toal, being the badass that he is, just beast modes his way through it. So here we're giving this girl, Unica, who we've never met in the story of this game because we skipped her intro cutscene, we're giving her a sword, which we skipped picking up because we skipped the boss fight that gives it to us. So none of this cutscene makes any sense, and you just kind of have to make do with it. One sec. I want that. So I picked this Rotafruit up earlier at the beginning of this section of the tower to get the to feed this root here and to get the Ring of Ease, which lowers all magic usage by 20%. And given that we're using magic literally the entire run, it's very much worth it to pick it up. You have a good night, Kios. Thanks for the host and raid.
See you, Kios.
See you, Kios.
So this barrier here, once again we can skip this barrier, but it's not as accurate. I kind of have to just get a feel for the positioning of where I have to put my cursor, and if I mess it up, I will clip through the floor and have to cycle all the way back. So getting that first try was really good. It saves me from having to kill all the glowing pink enemies. Nope. There's no temporal paradox here, just alternate dimensions. Alrighty. So, as I mentioned, strength in this game is incredibly powerful. Like, one strength point is a lot. And since we haven't been actually fighting anything to level up, we need to do a grind session here. So we're gonna go to this one room that has 5 enemies cluttered up together, and then use a lot of charged Thunderclot, along with the 1.9 times boost to experience, to just kill these same enemies over and over again until we get up to 175 for our HP, which is, I want to say, level 18? I don't even know anymore. But again, the levels are static, so it doesn't really matter what level it is. It's the HP notation that we really care about. And I was on the wrong type of magic there, but I'll make this grind a couple seconds slower. Alrighty, so now we're good enough to fight the next boss. I'm gonna use a Godspeed to get past, or God Lunge to get past the barrier. Just really easy, and then the door's free. You just have to point the cursor at the top left pixel of the screen, and then use Godspeed. Which, once again, Godspeed is just absolutely broken, and just skips everything in this game.
Xcode is concerned that we had just caused the temporal paradox. Should we be worried?
No, everything is going as intended.
Okay. As intended, or as the speedrun is supposed to go.
Can I just say yeah? Can I just say yes and be done with it?
Okay, fair enough.
Alright, so real quick, what I'm doing here is luring this boss to the back end of the arena, because that's where that's where the exit's gonna spawn. The trick to this guy is I have to kill the two fists on his side. I don't want to jump away from them, I just want to move away from them. It's kind of the trick that a lot of people don't realize about this boss fight. To dodge, you basically never want to jump. Alternatively, jump attacking into something cancels any hit stun. So, his weak spot is the gem on his head. A little low on health here. That is deliberate. I am taking that health. I am taking that damage deliberately because my boost meter replenishes more whenever I'm at lower health. But that was a really clean fight. Just get the hands, no extra cycles, and then pummel the face each time. Yeah, a single level up makes such a huge difference in this game. It's been toned down in later games. There's mainly Origin and Napishtim, which had this whole deal. Well, Napishtim engine games. You don't really have to grind to get past bosses too bad, but again, like, levels mean a lot in this game, so it kind of is just a solution to the problem sometimes. I generally got to a level where I felt like the bosses were challenging and just beat them up myself. Braun Strowman. I don't know who that is.
He's a wrestler. He is the monster among men.
Of course,
his catchphrase is "Get these hands." Because basically what he does is wrestle and try to commit murder a lot.
Seems legit.
Yeah, right?
So the story here is Unica thanks us and says, hey, you're not such a bad guy after all. And Toal's but I'm evil. He's like, you can't be evil. And Toal's just like, you know what? Maybe I'm not evil. I mean, really, in the whole story of the game, he's just kind of a total neutral in everything. Just kind of working with the bad guys, because his ultimate goal is to destroy the Black Pearl, which, in the very first cutscene of the game, the two goddesses walk into the tower, and he's desperately hunting them to try and find which one of them has the Black Pearl and, like, where they are and all that. So the Black Pearl is this game's Mask of the Sun, aka the dark, powerful MacGuffin, which cannot be allowed to fall into the hands of evil. Trust me.
It was me thinking the Black Pearl was a ship.
I know.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, my shtick always is that we're trying to become the Black Pearl, or we're trying to get the Black Pearl to become a pirate of the Caribbean.
The Black Pearl.
That was just kind of the running gag that we had on my own stream a couple times. Oh no, these puns. We don't need puns.
We always need puns.
We always need puns.
Quick, somebody summon Gunarm Dine.
We don't need that many puns.
Dine, we summon you.
Funny story about that is when he was doing his pun-filled donations at RPGLB, he donated one when he was working the sound booth, which is right next to the host station. And when he donated one during one of my shifts, he just looked at me and went, "I'm gonna leave now."
Oh no, it was that bad, huh?
Yeah.
So actually, levels aren't as big in later East games. Same with Trails games, actually. Oh, by the way, speaking of, I don't know what I was speaking of. Speaking of good music, because Trails have good music. Nice segue.
Yeah. Good job, man.
So the music that I actually have going on here is from the Super Range album, because this game's soundtrack files are really easily modded. So this skip is pixel perfect. Thankfully, huge shoutouts to Windows accessibility functions. There is a default accessibility function called mouse keys, which lets me use the numpad to move my mouse cursor pixel by pixel. And it turns out it's actually really helpful at getting pixel perfect skips with the mouse.
Wow, Windows does something right for one.
I know, right? Accessibility is awesome. So that skip...
Don't
skip...
tell that to hardcore gamers.
So that skip through the gate on the right side is, again, something I have to do on ToalEX. If I had the fire ability, I'd be able to hover over to that door, but instead I had to kind of come up with a bit more of a roundabout way of doing things. Those enemies in that room are kind of awful, but in defeating them and not dying to them, I get the double jump. It's like, when I was first playing this game, I almost felt a pseudo-Metroidvania element, but there isn't as much backtracking as I would have liked. But it is that cool like pacing of like every new kind of section of the game gives you another really cool power. And double jump was that for this area. Alright, so here's our introduction to undead enemies. Here's the one time we're going to make use of the downward thrust. The strat is to stand still, do a downward thrust, and completely mess everything up because I fail at this video game. What you're supposed to do is downward thrust, and then use a single Thunderclaw, and they all die instantly. But I did a strat that was 2 seconds slower.
My optimization.
That's fine, I have like 11 minutes between estimate and PB.
So what's your estimate?
1:30.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to
But
go.
only a little bit.
I don't want to go over.
You don't want to be Bowie?
I was gonna say, we've been over this. You don't want to be Bowie.
What did Bowie do?
He is
Every run.
Like, I think every run he's ever done in a marathon has gone over by like a minute or two because he incensed some. And it's perfectly fine because he's talking over the credits and stuff like that. But it's just a run.
I mean, Xenoblade was fine. I want to say Shining Force was good. Like, I don't know him for that. Except for the only one I know is.
It was mainly his Terranigma and Secret of Mana, I think, that went over. But.
The poking pot shots at Bowie. I'm all game for that, but. Alright, so here Toal meets his may or may not be lover goddess, Rhea, who has the Black Pearl. And he shows her what he has become, this dark figure, and she says, "I still think there's good in you." And then Toal kind of lets her go, even though he's supposed to take the pearl from her. And it's kind of like the key moment that shows, clearly he's not a bad guy.
You can tell he's evil because he talks in red text.
Only when he's in demon form. I still remember when I did this run for STDQ, and one of my couch guys was basically saying, "Here's how you can tell somebody's evil. Rah, watch out for my red text." Alright, so this skip actually saves like 1 second and is really easy to mess up, but I want to do it anyways because it's kind of tradition at this point to just do the glitches in this game. I got time to kill. Come on. You stop doing that.
In all seriousness, no, these are just jokes that we're saying about Bowie. He's a great guy.
Oh, he's a wonderful person.
Don't start none of this nonsense.
Hey, you're the guy. You're the ones who are saying that you're joking. I'm just saying it how it is.
You're the one saying you're joking. No, I'm being completely serious.
No, I'm the one being mean to him.
Okay.
It's not like he was on my couch for this game twice.
GhostKing constantly extolling his virtues. Not bad. I'd give that one a 7, maybe 8.
That's a 7.8. Okay. Huh, the enemy just straight didn't spawn. Weird. There's an enemy that's supposed to appear there, and I sometimes kill him for a little bit of extra experience if I can, but... Gotta watch out for these guys, because the bombs do a lot of damage. And then I'm gonna skip through the next door, and this is gonna save about 3 minutes of just cutscene. Easy. Every time. Charge up a Thunderclaw here. Go into boost because I want to get rid of these enemies as quickly as I can. As they latch onto me and kill all my speed. And then, once again, we're going to clip through something, but this time we're going to clip through the corner of a wall. Because, you know, we skip through doors, we skip through barriers. Why not just skip through walls as well?
Yeah, because physics be damned, right?
So in that particular instance, the any inward-pointing corner you can clip through in this game. In fact, anyone can do it. It's just Toal has the easiest means of doing so with God lunging. So I'm going to try this really cool jump here. I completely messed it up, but you know, we're just going to pretend we didn't see anything.
You saw nothing, chat. You saw nothing.
So this sand has a slippery effect. And these enemies are being really awful here. I don't want to die here. Oh my goodness, this is kind of bad. I'm gonna just respawn the room. And die. And lose like 2 minutes. Okay. There, I'm going overestimate. No, not really. I should be fine.
I blame Vanny.
Thanks, Vanny.
His fault.
Yep, Smumblon has the right idea. Reminder, in all speedruns, walls are merely suggestions. The firmness of that suggestion varies by game.
Yeah, so I'm on tier 2 armor and I have no boots. And the enemies here chunk for really large amounts of damage. He's not a bad guy, he's just temporarily challenged. That's kind of a good way of putting it. He does not abide by the laws of time and space.
The Bowie abides.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Toal. No, he's talking Bowie. Yeah, Bowie does not follow the laws of time. Okay. That was the enemy I was referring to. I've never died on that room, so there's my obligatory marathon. That's never happened before.
So I'm noticing that a lot of the rooms that you're going, you say there isn't a lot of backtracking.
Yeah.
But a lot of the rooms that you go into look the same. Is that initially very confusing on the first playthrough?
Can be a little bit. There's not a whole lot of branching paths in this game, though, so it's not something you really have to worry about too much.
Okay.
I never find myself getting too lost. Each room's kind of got... usually has like its own little thing you can do on it, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
The right angle here. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so in this chest is a Claria ore. I absolutely need to get this, and unfortunately I don't have I don't have Fire Tornado, which is the fire spell, because I skipped it. And that would make the alternative strat to this more viable. I'm going to try this one room again and hopefully not get mauled to death. Okay, we did it. We did the cool jump.
Cool jumps.
So, ordinarily, we would pick up a thing that allows me to move much more stably through, slippery territory, but we just skipped doing that.
Oh, that was sick.
Alright, this door skips.
I just saw the jump on the delay, so...
This door skip's a little precise. Now, I need to not mess this up. So, by running alongside the right end of the wall, and double jumping, I just jumped over the trigger to that last boss. There was a boss there. We just said no. Which is good, because it's an awful, awful boss fight that nobody likes. Admit it, the cool jump was why I did that death. You know, you got me.
Silly.
Alright. So Toal, being slightly more good than evil now, decides to finally, you know, tell his brother that he loves his brother and that his brother was... The whole deal is that Toal was originally meant to be the heir to the House Fact, and then Toal just decided, no, I want to do my own thing. My brother has more potential than me, and just leaves it to Hugo. And when Toal left, Hugo got really upset because he thought, like, why are you such a coward? And Toal's like, I wanted you to do it because I think you're better suited towards it, and kind of compliments him here. Hugo gets really frustrated here. And in Hugo's point of weakness, the sorcerer and sorceress, Dallas and Zava, decide to tempt him with a bit of power. The power that he needs. Of course, you know, you make a deal with the devil. It's kind of like a monkey's paw. There's always a downside. So we'll find out more about that later. Anyways, this is Blighted Blood. It's kind of the most volatile area in the game for various reasons. But on the plus side, the enemies here give a ton of experience, more so than any other group of enemies relative to your expected level than in the entire game. And again, I might actually die here, so I'm going to be a little careful here. The nice thing about Thunderclaw is every tick of damage that I do with a charged Thunderclaw while in boost, I will heal 1 point of damage. So it gives kind of like a vampire effect, or a lifesteal effect, if you will. And I am timing this horribly. So it's not actually when you're in boost, it's any time. It's a bigger area of effect with Thunderclaw when you are in boost. So you're going to see me approach death quite a lot in this area. The nice thing is when you level up in this game, you heal to full.
Wow, that spike bodied you, dude.
Yes, it did.
I feel bad because I'm watching on the delay, but...
Alrighty, so here we're going to use some wall runs to jump over these spike barriers. That's a swag strat that saves like 4 seconds, so it's a swag strat that saves time, but is very easy to mess up. I go for it every time, because I have pretty good consistency with it. And it looks really cool, so there's literally no reason not to go for it. So this next door is the easiest door to clip through in the entire game. When I was learning this run, I didn't actually have a guide on how to do this particular door, so I just kind of guessed at how to do it and got it first try. I was like, where would I put my cursor to do this? And then I found out later, you literally can just use the arrow keys to get through that door. As long as you're at a 45-degree angle approaching it. again, doors are merely suggestions. So, I'm not strong enough to do, like, any damage to these guys, and I need to kill them to get the Clariot Ore, so we're gonna do what my good pal Spoody calls, pool party strats. Inside this room is a toxic pool that damages them for 20 damage, like, every second. And it's much more damage than I can do, so the strat is to just basically pull them into the water, have a pool party, and then wait till they all die.
Darn it, guys! What did I say about drowning in the pool?
I was gonna say something else that people tend to do in pools, but that works too. This is why I don't go to water parks anymore.
God, none of us were gonna say anything.
No, but we were all gonna think it.
Yep.
It's not that bad. Come on, guys. Making me sound like I'm saying something dirty here.
You saying it's not dirty?
I mean, it's
It's dirty.
it's literally
pretty
dirty.
gross.
It's literally
It's pretty
dirty,
gross.
not like figuratively dirty.
The lady
Dirty.
doth protest too much, methinks.
I appreciate that you said that quote correctly, because everyone always gets the order of the words wrong.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, methinks the lady doth protest too much, but... I've been in that play far too many times to get that quote wrong.
Which one is it?
Romeo and Juliet.
So these enemies give stupid, bonkers amounts of experience. So one charged Thunderclaw here can, if I were able to actually get them all and do it correctly, I could have leveled up twice in a single attack. So right there, I just killed that mob and gained 2 levels instantly. The whole reason for this is a lot of catch-up EXP, because I'm relatively under-leveled. And I want to be at a certain level before I get to the next area. Okay, so I have MP speed boost max, so I could just god lunge as much as I want. Actually go a little too overboard. My movement's been very sloppy this run, but again, I blame the rust. Okay. My claws are too rusty. Alright. So this story, I just kind of brute force my way through it and just keep trying to skip through it until eventually I do. Alright, this is a bit of a precise trick. We're going to try and jump over this boss trigger yet again. If I mess it up, I'll have to fight the boss, which isn't the worst thing, but I want to get this. Dang. Just a little too low. There's really
Small
not...
correction.
There's
The
really
quote
not...
is from... Sorry, carry on.
There's not much room to work with, so we're going to have to fight this giant mantis crab thingy. He's also one of the worst bosses in the game, especially on higher difficulties. Go ahead. You were saying something.
I was just saying, small correction, that quote's actually from Hamlet. It's just been...
I don't even know in what plays you've been.
Dude, I've done most of Shakespeare's plays 2 or 3 times. Basically what English schools do when it comes to plays.
What is your favorite one?
Ooh, excellent question. Probably Romeo and Juliet, to be honest. When there's a story behind that, I can't tell at this marathon.
That's all right. Maybe next limit break.
I'll happily
all
tell
out
you.
for dinner.
I'll happily tell you the story in person, but this is a PG stream.
So we just defeated the boss in the meantime. He summons these minions, and if he gets a chance to, he will heal. I've only ever been able to do healless once. So if I were to try and get the skip for the boss fight, I would have had to have saved, like, to try for it again, which would mean Alt F4ing out of the game, and It would have also meant killing the enemies leading up to the door, and of course that's slow if I could just skip it. I still love the freaking, Whose Line joke that Wayne Brady makes, where he's like, it's like Shakespeare but for rednecks, and he's just like, the two revenuers from Verona approacheth, and nobody gets it, and he's just like, read a book, people.
Dragon Lord Carter would like to know if I've ever heard Shakespeare in the original Klingon. I have not heard Shakespeare in the original Klingon. I have read Shakespeare in the original Klingon.
Yeah, what RPG Mel said, that boss sucks on higher difficulties. On easy, it's fine to fight him. On, like, hard or nightmare, it's actually faster to just save and try again. Or just outright skip, or just outright reset if you miss the skip. I have this uncanny thing where I can get that skip about 60 to 70% of my runs, and yet every one of my marathon runs I've ever done of this game, which is probably close to 20 now, I somehow mess it up. Alrighty, so now that Hugo's been tempted with power, he kind of just loses all sense of self and starts attacking things when commanded to. And the goddess Rhea has appeared in front of us, and we talked for a little too long, so it was enough distraction to allow her to fall into the hands of the god, or the magic people thingy. I don't know. I can't speak. It's like, dang, it's almost midnight and I can't speak. Wow, I'm more tired than I thought.
The fun fact to follow on from the Klingon Shakespeare thing, the title of the Star Trek Undiscovered Country movie is actually from Hamlet. Because the undiscovered country is how Hamlet describes Denmark in his to be or not to be speech. Sorry, did my nerd just show?
It's fine. We're all nerds here.
We're definitely all nerds here.
Alrighty, so this is the priest, Shion. He's a good pal of the good guys. We almost kill him in an alternate timeline, but we skip that boss fight. So he decides to heal us and work together with us to get the Black Pearl back. So we need to head on through Demonic Core, and the super range version of this song is really cool. I'm going to shut up and let you listen to the saxophone. I love the saxophone. It's such a cool instrument. Alright. So ordinarily we would have to do a little bit more grinding, but we're not going to do that because we fought that previous boss who gave us about two levels and some change in experience. So these slimes are worth really good experience, and they hit me with confusion, which is the worst status effect in the game because it reverses my control scheme. When you're running on mouse and keyboard,
oh no,
it's like, it's extra awful. Because I'm controlling my character by having him basically follow the mouse. That's not smooth jazz, that's some rockin' jazz. And there's the piano, too. Alrighty, so now we're going to finally face Kishgal, the Mr. Cutscene himself. And this is kind of our first path of defeating all the bad guys in this game and ending everything once and for all. So, as we are well aware, he is the guy who killed Saltova, our mentor slash assistant and friend. His whole deal is he's just not evil, he just wants to fight the strong guys. And now he's going full red text on us. So we need to take him out. So, although I'm not doing much damage in this phase, I'm building up boost meter every time I get an attack in. So there is a part of this fight which is about taking damage on purpose. Wow. I was like frames away from dying there. Good fight. No, you cannot leave boss fights in this game once you've started them. The boss triggers don't work the same way that they do in Salsera. So here we acquire a rod. You can tell it's a rod because it's just called Rod. Everything in this game has some cool names. There's like the 11th Strike Hammer and Cerulean Flabellum, and there's just this thing called Rod, and that's because this dungeon is actually also the final dungeon of Ys 1, albeit in a very different capacity. So the entire game in Ys Origin is set in this one tower, and it's much more expanded on from Ys 1. However, so that just means that everything that's from Ys 1 is referred to as the same thing that it's referred to as in Ys 1. So it's just called the Rod, not like the Mirror Rod, which is probably what it should be called. So what the Rod lets me do is it lets me go through mirrors. Again, this is a reference to Ys 1. And so before Kishgal can try and finish us, in come the good guys to basically stall him out. And in fact, we could have killed him, but essentially what happens is Kishgal says, "Finish me, you fool," and Toal's like, "No, I'm not a monster." That's kind of like completing the character arc at that point. So now we have to kind of undo everything and get our woman back and take the Black Pearl. So I'm going to do a skip here that would save time if I get it first try, but it's kind of really stupid and janky and hard to get. So I'm going to see if I can't get it. It's a lot more work than it should be. Oh, I messed up there. I kind of just want to show this off, even though it's slow to continually set up for. There we go. Dang, messed it up. One more time. There we go. Got it. So, like I mentioned, you can clip through any inward pointing corner, and that just so happens to be one of them. The problem is the setup for it is ridiculously precise. You have to have like your foot positioned a specific way, and jump, and then like time your second jump in a weird way. Alright, so here we're going to do another skip, and instead of doing the skip, we're just going to not do the skip, and so we're going to skip doing the skip and lose 5 seconds. Right there, if I would have gotten a God Lunge, I could have clipped off of that inward pointing corner and fallen to the lower level and saved about 5 seconds. And here's the last of the Cleariors. So we're up to the next fight of the bunch, which is the Sorceress Zava, who's kind of just been mean all game. So we're gonna get back at her. Now this boss fight is a reference.
We're not killing the bad guys, we're killing the mean guys.
They're bad too. They kind of want to destroy everything, so and rule everything.
Okay.
With demonic powers. This one. I don't know what to say to that, Justin. Alright, so this is another boss fight that's a reference to East 1. It's these two fire and ice heads, and in this case I need to attack Zava herself. And I'm going to try for the quick kill here. So this is, in his own words, Bowie's morning face. Raw. So, this fight isn't nearly as stupid as it is in East 1. What I have to do is chunk out about a third of her health. And then she's going to start going into one of the heads. Maybe a quarter, I don't know exactly the numbers. And then I hit the head with the rotating orbs around it 4 times, and it's going to alternate between the two. And then she's going to fall to the ground. Try and get back up, and every time she gets back up, my goal is to use a charged Thunderclaw and prevent her from staying back up, because then she's going to go back into one of the heads. So, although it wasn't the most efficient, that was the quick kill, because she never went back into the heads. The worst thing she can actually do is rise to the center, get a shield around her, and just do this like 15-second long attack that I can't hurt her during.
Good job.
So there we go. That's the Zava fight really quickly. I hear clapping, but it comes through weird on the mic.
Yeah.
So she taps into her Darkling powers and basically proceeds to summon an endless army of ghost knights. So yet another group of heroes come in. We haven't actually seen like any of these characters. In fact, this first guy here was the first boss of the game that we just completely ignored.
Red text.
Red text. Bow before the red text. So they're going to hold her off while we go chase after Dallas, who now has the Black Pearl. And in comes probably the most epic song of the game. Hopefully I can get some slides off of these slime-dropping enemies here. Yay, I got some super slides on that. They save a little bit of time and are really unpredictable. So I could make that jump in regular Toal, but I don't have Fire Tornado, so I have to hit the switch. Just slightly slower, but most of the time losses in ToalEX are minimal relative to the time saved over regular Toal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about a 7 to 8 minute shorter category. And the route's a decent amount different too, which is kind of cool.
So on average, how long is a basic, like, you say this is New Game Plus sort of thing, right?
Kind
so
of.
How long is your first playthrough of this? Like the non-speed run? How many hours do you think you put into it?
I'll tell you in a sec. I got a glitch that I'm doing here where I'm kind of just clipping through the wall into a door. And then this is another precise trick. I might actually lose the run here too. I have a backup for it. Oh, we got it. Okay. I'll explain what that does in a section. So how long an average playthrough of this game takes? Each character is about 10 hours casually.
Okay.
And my personal best for ToalEX is 1 hour and 19 minutes and 20-some seconds. Record is like a 1 hour and 13 minutes. And as for regular Toal, my PB is 1 hour and like 28.
Okay.
Alrighty, so what I just did in this fight is I entered the fight on the frame of no collision detection, which means for this entire boss fight, I will have no collision detection.
Wow.
Meaning, I can hit this guy, and he can try as hard as he wants to, like, hurt me, and it's never gonna connect, because I can just walk through everything he does. So this fight's literally free. As long as I never use Godspeed, because that will give me collision again. So, if I could use one word to describe this fight, it would be cathartic. Because the first Hugo fight is one of the worst fights in the entire game, and Hugo's also my least favorite character in this game, so just having a no-holds-barred beatdown is cathartic, to say the least. So now that we've defeated him, he purges the dark power from his body, and finally decides to acknowledge us as his older brother. Our true decided to acknowledge his family once and for all. Honestly, this game's story, like, it's pretty basic, but it has well enough handled characters to keep it, you know, worth enjoying for yourself. Like, I'm only giving the just basic details of things. I can't even really stop to tell you everything that goes on in this game, especially given how much context just outright gets skipped. Anyways, now we have the goddess ring, which was given to, well, taken from the goddess, and Hugo gives it to us, and what it does is it gives us a 5-point boost to our strength and defense. As I mentioned, a single point of strength in this game is huge. So, if I don't equip the Goddess Ring, which I just double-checking to make sure I did, it can mean the difference between this final boss being relatively easy, and by that I mean very easy, and actually struggle-inducing. We got about another 12 minutes left of the run. You got any time for donations and all that? All that's happening here is we're confronting the big bad and using the power of the goddesses to break his shield and try and fight him.
Well, actually, I want to just say we have managed to get to $559.98 because someone was like, yeah, I don't need to add that extra 2 cents. And I know who it is, certain Ms. Kitty. I would love, by the end of my shift, which is after Keishura's game, which comes after this epistory, I would love to try and hit $600, guys. So let's try and get some donations in. As you've seen, we're trying to get the Bob crew together for the Secret of Mana. So,
yep, Bob,
try and get
Robert,
some...
and Bobathy.
And Bobathy, yes. So if you're gonna get your donations in, please put your donations to whatever you want, but spare a thought for those particular incentives.
So Dallas decides to use the power of the Black Pearl here and become this giant demonic monstrosity. So we're going to have to do a 3-phase boss fight. This is actually the final boss of the other 2 characters in this game's story, but there's one more fight that's going to happen afterwards. So this fight has 3 phases to it, the first of which is literally free. It just doesn't do much damage to me because I have I gained a ton of levels on that last boss fight by getting the double EXP while being under leveled. So I'm now actually over leveled for this fight. And he's not cooperating because he's sailing himself out of bounds. This fight's kind of a terrible, terrible boss fight, and nobody who runs this game likes this fight because of this. Now, I don't have the fire magic to pierce this shield here, so I kind of have to just use the little bit of damage that I have from my wind magic to break past this shield. On the plus side, it is actually hitting him through the shield. So, I'm still doing damage. By the time it breaks, I'm going to actually skip the third barrier that he has, which is the thunder barrier. And this phase is kind of awful. He has these little satellite things that hover around and shoot at me. And what he's going to start doing now is, well, I guess he's doing the fire attack first. But sometimes he summons this little vortex thing that if I get sucked into it, it causes like an attack that loses... Yeah, there we go. If I get sucked into that, I lose about 20 seconds. And the hitbox on it is actually gargantuan, so I need to be very clear of it. Alrighty. There's the Dallas fight. I actually leveled up, which I don't usually do. Decently easy fight. Honestly, it's one of the easiest fights for me, even on Nightmare. No, we gotta go with Bobathy. Just go B-O-B-T-Y. Or B-B-T-H-Y. I would also take that. I demand Bobathy.
Bobathy. I agree.
Bob, Bobbert, and Bobathy. True triple threat.
It's like we're on pace for a 126.
Hopefully.
Two of which may not even be in the game if a certain gets met.
Yep. After a while, we'll just send Bobbert and Bobathy on a vacation.
Yeah, and
Like,
in comes Go Go Go.
Send him on a vacation to a farm upstate.
So this is about a 5-minute long cutscene. The only thing I'm going to say here, because this does kind of spoil things, and I recommend this game heavily. I recommend all the East games. They're all pretty good. Except for 2. No, 2's good. If you play 1 and you like 1, you'll like 2. Probably. 3 on the SNES is not great, and then 5 is not that great. But like 1, 2, 4, Salsetta, Falcana, Origin, 7. They're all great games, and I heavily recommend them. Really fun. Really, like, high-intensity action RPGs. All you need to know about this cutscene here is, if you've ever seen Star Wars, yeah, just think about that for like a moment, and then just be like, okay. Anyways, there's like 3 minutes of cutscene left, maybe 2 minutes. So, I'm gonna make a special request here. So, technically speaking, because in my time zone and across the United States, today is my birthday. And I would like nothing more for my birthday.
Get the hell out of here.
And I would like nothing more for
because we need to finish the run.
Yeah, exactly. I would like nothing more for my birthday from you people. To donate to a good cause. The charity, of course, but also the names of Bob, Bobbert, and Bobathy.
You hear that, chat? GhostKing's birthday. And to quote a certain movie, he wasn't even supposed to be here today. Does this mean if Keisha's singing incentive gets met, she has to sing happy birthday to you as well?
I mean,
no,
if
no.
someone donates like right now, I'll sing happy birthday right now, but only if he wants to, because I personally don't tell people about my birthday because I hate being sung happy birthday to.
I mean, it's a sacrifice I had to make. I'm hoping somebody would donate. I'm not actually. I'm also not even kidding, by the way. Yo's birthday, man. No, we're not getting Solo Man or Ryu in here. Please no. Alrighty, so here's where the anime power comes into play with this game. The goddesses repaired our sword, and basically, Toal's sword is a weapon called the Silver Sword. It's a reference to East 1, where the Silver Sword is the only thing that you can damage the final boss with. In this game, however, Toal's Silver Sword also has the ability to shoot beams of electric light at things. So we have a sword for the next fight, and it does a lot of area of effect damage. Thank you, RPG Mel. Is it RPG Mel or RPG Me? RPG Me RPG May? I don't know. But nonetheless, the Feels birthday is appreciated. Alrighty, let us save the world and become a pirate of the Caribbean once and for all.
Yar. We named the monkey Jack.
Alrighty, so Darm, it's kind of annoying, like most boss fights in this game. The black pearl is his weakness, and we need to repeatedly hit it over and over and over again. I have to complete 4 cycles minimum. Even if I drop his health to 0, he heals, and I have to hit another cycle. Okay, and he'll do one of 3 phases. The first one that we saw is guaranteed to be that one, and the pearl is guaranteed to be in the center for that phase. Darn, I got unlucky here. And then after the first phase, the pearl is in one of 3 locations: his left or right arm, or the center of the body. I'm holding up fine. Oh wait, no, he's talking to you, Bob.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. I guess, like I said, I was actually in the ER this morning, so yeah.
Glad to have you here, Bob.
Thank you, sir.
We're happy to have you. So, GhostKing is Bobbert. Bob is Bob. I guess that makes me Bobbathy.
Oh
yeah.
No. Come on, Kay.
I'm Bobbathy.
You are an honorary Bob. You're welcome to the exclusive clubs, Bob.
Except my name's not actually Bob, but...
You're a Bob to us, okay?
That's fair.
You're
that's
Bob
fair.
to us.
I mean, I'm not a ghost either, but I don't tell people that very often.
It would make it really difficult to hold the controller.
Does that mean that you are a king?
Some circles, maybe. I don't know.
We have a $10 donation from Nooster, who says, "Happy birthday." That's $6.67 towards Epistory End Song, and $3.33 towards Happy Birthday Song.
Okay. Alright, we're coming up on time here. We need to finish the Black Pearl here once and for all, and this phase is kind of awful. And time. Yay! 126.
Good job.
Well, considering I lost 2 minutes to dying, this is still not a bad run by any means.
It's true, Scala, sorry.
I think it's Shala. Some Chrono Cross reference.
It is. It's Scala. I was told how to say it up top. It's Scala. But,
She says it's Scala.
Yeah. And if we manage to make Secret of Bob happen, we can all be Bobs in those moments. It's true.
Alright, GhostKing.
What's up? Oh no.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bobbert. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Kay.
That's all I've got to add. So.
Yeah, that fight's really easy. I found it to be one of the easiest fights in the game, even on Nightmare when I played this game. Alrighty. Well, and so that does it for that does it for East Origin. Second of my 2 East runs, and I assume, and I would say the 3rd East run of the day. You guys got quite a lot of East today.
Did you say it was easy?
I hear this pun all the time. It never gets easier. It never gets easier to deal with.
And with Nooster's donation, we have met the Epistory Typing Chronicles donation incentive. So,
I want to thank y'all for donating, of course. Thank you all for being here. I apologize.
Thank you for running, dude. Like,
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Absolutely, no problem. Like,
Thank you so much for running.
Hope y'all enjoyed. Apologies that I'm a little rusty on the gameplay and commentary, but
stop! You stepped in last minute to help out, and you were brilliant. Stop apologizing. Okay. You were great. Okay.
Haha! That was my plan all along, was to get Bob to admit it.
What? You did. I'd have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Hey,
I don't even know what that was supposed to.
I'm 25. I can rent a car now.
Yeah, you're only 15 years younger than me.
I think East time for
Get off your own lawn.
Get off my own damn lawn. Alrighty, but in all seriousness, thanks again and for everyone. If anyone's interested in these games, they're usually on sale on Steam for really cheap, really fun to play through. Not very long, so you know you don't have to say, oh, an RPG, I guess I'm going to be sitting here for 30 hours before I beat this. No, these games are generally fairly short, but you know, always worth the investment. I always find myself coming back to them. I played each game in this series twice, which is at least, which is something I can't say about, I think, any other game series I played. If anyone's interested in speedrunning them, we have a Discord. I'm always available for people. But there's my shameless plug. Ragnarok After Dark now. Oh god, I must contain myself. I'm old enough now, I can start uttering profanity.
I did say that when I took over that this was the Ragnarok After Dark, so just saying. This is smooth nighttime jazz.
Smooth nighttime jazz presented to you by the great... What would be your jazz musician name, Bob?
I don't know.
Bob the Smooth Goldfish?
I don't know. I don't think I'm the jazz musician. I'm the guy that sits in the back and of like the smoky jazz club drinking whiskey and just listening to the music. You know what I mean?
I don't even drink whiskey, but that would probably still be me.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't drink whiskey either, but I would drink some rum with you.
Next RPG limit break, you're on.
Well, actually, Bob, so when we went to go to dinner for your birthday, I asked the waitress for just spiced rum on the rocks, and she looked at me like I was crazy. She's like, "You want rum on the rocks?" And I'm like, "Yes."
I'm amazed you could get that in Utah. I'm amazed you can get that in Japan.
As long as you buy it during at the right times, it's okay.
Yeah,
RPG licensed places.
RPG limit break's fun. Alrighty, so this game has no credits, because both the last 2 runs I disabled all FMV playback, and as a consequence there is no credits. So this is a to be continued in East 1 and 2, which are also good games. Good games to start off with. A lot of people ask me, where should I start in this series? And in my opinion, there aren't really very many wrong answers. Origin, 1, 2, Felghana, or Napishtim, Salsetta, 7, 8, all of those are solid choices. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. Gonna send it over to the next run, which I haven't seen the schedule in a while, so I don't remember what that is. I think that's
K-Shura, in fact.
Oh.
K-Shura is up next.
That's right. I was thinking of the run after it, like the Final Fantasy 2. But yeah, Epistory with K. Sherwood and singing. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, GhostKing. Everybody in the chat, let's see some appreciation for GhostKing and his awesome runs.